Gus and Grandpa and the Two-Wheeled Bike by Claudia Mills. Pictures by Catherine Stock. Gus was the only kid on Maple Street who still had training wheels on his bike. Even Ryan Mason, who was the same age as Gus, had a bike with 5 speeds and no training wheels. Then Gus's mother and father gave him a brand new bike. It was as bright and shiny as Ryan Mason's, and it had no training wheels. Gus tried to ride the new bike while his father held on to the back. When his father let go for just a second, Gus crashed. The old bike. A few days and a few crashes later, Gus went to visit Grandpa at Grandpa's house. Grandpa's dog Skipper jumped up to lick him. Skipper didn't mind that Gus still rode a bike with training wheels. Gus and Skipper ran around Grandpa's yard until they were both panting. Then Gus sat down next to Grandpa and drank some of Grandpa's homemade root beer. "How's the bike riding coming along?" Grandpa asked. "I can't ride that new bike," Gus said. "It keeps on crashing." He pointed to his knees. He had a dinosaur bandage on the right knee. He had a monster bandage on the left knee. "I have an idea," Grandpa said. Grandpa led the way to his broken down shed. "I think I still have your daddy's old bike, the one he had when he was a little boy." Grandpa pushed aside a cracked door with peeling paint. He looked behind a bunch of boxes. "Here it is," he finally said. The bike looked like Gus's old bike, but even older. This was an old bike. Its red paint was rusty. Its tires were flat. "We'll fix it up," Grandpa said. Gus suddenly felt hopeful. His daddy had learned how to ride this bike long ago. Maybe he could learn how to ride it now. No training wheels. When the old bike was ready, Grandpa loaded it into the back of his car. Gus and Grandpa and Skipper drove to an empty parking lot on the other side of the railroad tracks, near Grandpa's house. Once you learn to ride a bike, Grandpa told Gus, you never forget. Sometimes I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, but I always remember how to ride a bike. Grandpa got on the old bike. He rode it once around the parking lot. Skipper barked. Gus laughed. Grandpa looked funny riding such a little bike. "Now it's your turn," Grandpa said. He held the bike while Gus climbed on. Gus started pedaling. Grandpa ran behind him, holding the back of the bike. Gus rode around the parking lot with Grandpa 1,000,000 times. They stopped so that Grandpa could rest. Then Gus rode around the parking lot with Grandpa 1,000,000 more times. And 1,000,000 more. Suddenly, Gus felt the bike begin to tip. "You can do it," Grandpa said. Gus pedaled faster. The bike didn't fall over. Gus kept on pedaling. The bike rode so smoothly that Gus felt as if he were flying. When Gus turned around a curve, his bike turned with him, like a winged horse galloping across the sky. Gus wished Ryan Mason could see him now. There was nothing in the world as wonderful as riding a bike without training wheels. Gus knew Grandpa was right. He would never, ever forget how to ride a bike. And he would never forget that Grandpa had taught him how. He would remember that forever.